And this week's fan submission match features Monster and W's. Here on Fighting Spirit, W's, the protoss, will be spawning up here in the top left, about 2 o'clock position. Monster, though, down here in the 5 o'clock position. Never actually seen the W's bot play before, so this will be super interesting to see, but I have seen Monster play multiple times. And it's a very, very good bot. If you can get mutas out especially, it can be really, really annoying to deal with as a human player. But it's not unbeatable. It has been beaten before, both by humans and other bots. But I would definitely still put it in the upper echelons of the Zerg bots and just bots in general. Starting out though, W's going for a pylon. We'll have to see if that's for some proxy gateways or if he's just going for a forge fast expand. Other than that, looks like we'll be able to scout out Monster on the first try. Monster unfortunately sending the Overlord to the wrong starting location at the beginning of the match, but is going to go for a 9 pool. Excuse me, going for an overpool. And W, the protoss, able to find that spawning pool right away. Decides we need to start taking that out. So, putting down that 5 particle beam damage every couple seconds here. See if that, plays into anything, or if not. See, looks like Monsters. I'm not quite sure. Just looks like maybe scouting around, checking for any proxies. We are going to have a Nexus first against an overpool from W's. And W's being a little annoying here, blocking that natural hatchery. Will lose the scouting probe though. Was able to take, about 90 or so damage from the spawning pool away. And we got the forge coming. Probably see gas soon. And no, just going straight into double cannon. Actually, that's probably a good idea. We do have a couple lings hitting the field, although not really a ton in massed force. It looks like 3 or so are going to come in a drone. And these cannons aren't going to be finished, so possibly may have to pull some probes. But unfortunately, because Monster didn't commit entirely, I don't think they'll be able to do much. Take out these probes maybe. And then, yeah, with this cannon finishing, W's is now back in the game. Meanwhile, that third hatch just now going down for Monster is seeing that W's is playing more of a macro style, deciding to match that. And we do have a gas. No gas, however, or gateway that I can see from W's yet. Just really pouring on the macro. And I imagine we're going to be seeing a layer coming out soon, if not ling speed. Monster does have a scouting drone inside. Is trying to be a little cheeky, it looks like here. And that gateway going down in the main instead of completing the wall off in the natural. We'll see if that again affects anything. Is kind of leaving out this big area for a ground force to just walk right through. And actually, I was wrong. We're going to see a Hydra Den. Potentially going for the Hydra bust. Although, honestly, it's hard to say. We do have... see if he's going to make 3 or so drones here, and that's going to be kind of our telltale sign, I think. Do have speed started, and a third cannon going into the natural mineral line. However, no cybernetics core. No attempts to scout either. Is throwing down another gateway. And a 4th cannon. Excuse me, a 5th cannon. Really, truly believes that they will be seeing the Mutalisk play here, but looks like Monster has skipped that completely. Okay, so it doesn't look like he's going for the Hydra and just mainly getting more defensive Hydras. Excuse me, got a little cold here, a little summer cold. And first Zealot out. We don't have +1 yet from W's. I'm really trying to figure out exactly what W's might be going for here. We do finally have the core. And another pylon. Let's see if he's going to put down another gateway potentially. Nope. Meanwhile, Monster fortifying that front there from the Zealots. Adding a few drones here and there, making some sparse Hydras. We'll probably be switching to pure Hydra production here very shortly. And in fact, adding the 5th hatchery in the main here. So, not exactly 3 hatch Spire and a 5 hatch Hydra, but you know, pretty much got where he wanted to go. He's on 5 hatcheries almost. Got both upgrades. Probably be going to lair and adding Evo Den soon. Adding some more sunken colonies. Meanwhile, W's is going for some sort of Dragoon-based attack. He is researching Goon range right now and adding the Stargate. Deciding to go for a little bit of that scouting and finally upgrading to the 2 5 gateways in total. Oh, even adding a 6th, 7th. Pretty much going all in this one big attack. And has a robotics. Gotta say, potentially looking like going for some sort of Zealot Goon Reaver build. Meanwhile, Monster poking up here with a batch of Hydras. Probably isn't going to get much done. Could potentially cause a lot of issues for W's if he gets these Zealots pulled far enough away and is able to snipe them off out of range of cannons. But W's being smart, pulling him back, keeping him relatively in range of the cannons. Pretty much causing a little trade here of, well, fortunately in that case, Monster took the better end of that deal by a wide margin. But, you know, come up, try to suppress the Zealots with the Hydras. Take a few cannon shots in return. And actually, Monster W is not really reacting. Assuming it's force assessment, deciding that was not worth trying to attack forward into. However, a little confused here on the tech path for W's. Did get Goon range, does have observers, but no Reavers, and now researching Zealot speed. And in fact, dangerously hovering this shuttle just near the Hydras. See if he adds any more tech. Does have 2 observers and just non-stop Zealot production currently. Monster deciding to back off, go home, reorganize, get reinforced. Starting to take that lair, has added on an evolution chamber to start upgrades. Meanwhile, W's potentially finally adding extra tech. Nope, just more pylons. If I have missed anything that he might have hidden, nope. Finally starting to add some Dragoons into the mix. Surprised he's still letting this drone live, considering he finally has the goons to snipe it down. Still 0-0 on the upgrades. But got a relatively decent sized amount of Zerglings and Hydras. +1 finally finished. Almost halfway through the armor. Moving out. Does have a big batch of about 10 Zealots heading to the third. Meanwhile, the main forces are engaging here. W's has split his army up into 3 paths, not really accomplishing too much here. Has pretty much lost all the Zealots in the main force that was moving down the center, but now is engaging with the 10 Zealots at the third. Meanwhile, these batch of Zealots here at the 3 o'clock, roughly, are just chilling on work strike or something. I don't know. And Monster going for the burrow on all of his drones to protect them from the Zealots. Meanwhile, that force finally coming down. Fourth going down in the bottom 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock area over there. And cleaning all of those Zealots up. Meanwhile, again, about 10 Zealots or so just chilling here at the 3 o'clock. Would have definitely changed things in W's favor, potentially, if he would have combined those with the main force that he had down coming in this center section. But, unfortunately, he didn't, so now they will probably end up dying to this reinforced horde of Zerglings and Hydras. Are taking good advantage of that high ground, but ultimately having to either get out of there or die. Oh, Monster, you cheeky bastard, you. I just realized what happened here. I missed the burrow. I missed the burrow on the Zergling here. The Zealots didn't see it, but saw it because they saw the burrow. So they didn't want to move from the one little Zergling. Monster completely tricking W's to bring up a big portion of his forces to defend against one burrowed Ling while the main force is engaged in that center area. Good move from Monster. Meanwhile, do you finally have a third going down from W's? And that fourth basically starting to come online for Monster. Has also added the Spire down for some Scourge. And we have a Reaver finally out. See if there's any upgrades. Don't see it. We do, it looks like, have some air upgrades coming down. +1 attack, it looks like. Meanwhile, we have 1-1 on the protoss units. And 1 carapace upgrade for the Zerg. Ooh, that shuttle just barely escaping. However, Monster starting to batter the crap out of all of these units, taking out these cannons before they're even warped in. Having to pull those Dragoons up there, meanwhile losing a ton of workers in the natural. Monster just applying pressure everywhere, pushing W's to its limit. And in fact, I don't think W's will be in this game potentially much longer. They will be able to capture these Hydras so that Hydras can't escape, but unfortunately at the cost of most of the workers in the natural and a significant damage done to the third. Meanwhile, Monster putting a line in the sand, taking the 5th hatchery up here at the 10 o'clock. Very close to the third of W's. And we have a worker transfer going down to the third. If Monster can catch this, he can deal a lot of damage. Ooh, deciding not to swing on there once he sees the army come down, even though there's only 1 goon in there. And the Mutas just starting to really pick W's apart here. Ooh, boom. These Mutas basically have free reign to go anywhere inside of the main base. Though seemingly not a ton of kills just yet. Ooh, I spoke too soon. Pretty much just eviscerating this mineral line. These two cannons doing what they can, valiant effort, but really, ultimately doing nothing to protect these workers. And Monster taking the 6th at the 9 o'clock position. Pretty much fully saturated, has added lurkers to the defense now, has sunkens all over the place, moving out with a massive Ling army. W's going for, looks like one Hail Mary attack, but not really going to accomplish much. Look at that. Is starting to kind of kill off those Lings, but, I mean, lurkers, 5 sunkens. That's a hard sell. And meanwhile, these mutas are just picking off anything that pops out. So W's basically has to make it work with this army that he has right here. And that's not happening. I mean, it's just not, unfortunately. They do have 1-1-1 complete on the upgrades, but 1-1 on the Hydras. I'm sure the 1 attack on the mutas is done, so everything just kind of gets canceled out. It equals out. And W's, I think, finally starting to sense that the game is over. Oh. I've been there as W's. Oh boy, have I been there. You got a Zerg just completely dominating you most of the game. Doing what you can to stabilize, but I mean, half the workers that Monster has basically every expansion node either under patrol or taken by himself. We're just really only at this base for W's mining, and while he may be able to hold on and pump out units for a little bit, that's not going to happen for very long. Just a few minutes at most. And meanwhile, we do have, it looks like, a potentially little attack trying to go to the 3rd, but the Muta is deflecting that. And now this force is halved in the front here. I don't see anything W's can do. The Mutas basically snipe any reinforcements that come out of the gateways, and these goons are very going to quickly die to just slow attrition. Whether it doesn't matter how, they could kill 50 of these things in one-on-one combat. But as you can see, eventually they're gonna die. Like, already this is about to be whittled down to an even lesser amount, about 5 goons. And all Monster needs to do really is just make a couple more units and it will pretty much annihilate W's. And in fact, W's losing the gateways now to these Muta harassments. Well, at this point, can you even call it harassment? It's like Muta destruction. Does kind of stabilize the natural, but I mean, there's, you know, like collectively maybe 1,500 minerals here. That's like, you know, 15 zealots or like 10 goons or so. Yeah, it's just not, it's not a lot of stuff. Was potentially trying to go for the air upgrades, but I mean, doesn't even have a Stargate anymore, so. And W's finally deciding he's had enough, ending the game completely due to the destruction and domination of these mutas. GG to Monster, the winner. And again, if you want to watch or enjoy our content, why not subscribe? Or if you'd like to have your own casts, your own replays cast, go ahead and send them in to SKP.SCReps@gmail.com. That will also be in the description below. But thanks for checking us out, and have a good night.